All right, we're recording. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salam ala ashraf al-anbiya wa mursaleen nabiyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'een. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We finally began, huh?
Now, Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Everyone viewing, everyone listening, wherever you may be. Inshallah, this is going to be a podcast, a Tibyān podcast set up to clarify issues in the Saha or going on, even in the religion and things that we see from day to day.
What's Saha?
Things that's happening
On the ground. Yeah.
Right? So that's the intention behind this podcast. So I'm here. I'm welcomed and co-hosting with our brother Ustad Muhammad Abdul-Hameed. Hafidhahullah ta'ala.
Hayyakallah. It's good to be here, man.
Alhamdulillah. It's good to
Inshallah.
catch up as well because the thing is, like, ever since I moved from Sheikh Ali's neighborhood, we don't really see each other as much.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's the perfect opportunity. And we've been talking about doing Dawa together for some time. So it's a perfect opportunity to come together, not only catch up, but help benefit other people as we catch up.
yeah, definitely. See each other once a week. Talk
Alhamdulillah.
about what's going on.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. So for the brothers who or the listeners who may not know about you, maybe you can give us just a brief introduction.
You know me long enough. I'm sure you can introduce me.
طيب. So our brother Muhammad Abdul-Hameed, Abu Ibrahim, he is a student in Malik Saud, doing his magister in tafsir, right?
No.
طيب. Tafsir. Alhamdulillah in Riyadh. And we've known each other for what? How many years would you say?
Well, ever since I got here.
Which was when? 2012, 2013?
Yeah, something like that.
2012, 2013.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so and then we lived together as neighbors in the neighborhood of Sheikh Ali, which is Hayat Tawheed.
Yeah.
Which is we lived there for what 6 years, I think, together.
Yeah.
And then I recently came back here when I got accepted to masters in Jamiat Imam.
Yeah, you left us.
So now there's the inqita. And it's funny because a lot of people think that Riyadh is like a small city where you're gonna see each other, like Medina or something. You're gonna keep running into each other, but Riyadh is big, bro.
Yeah, it's really big.
Like, how long did it take you to get here? And this is Saturday morning
no
with no traffic.
Yeah, a good 35, 40 minutes.
And that's Saturday morning with no traffic, getting to my house.
Yeah.
SubhanAllah. And then with traffic, add on to that. So it's just
Yeah.
like, it's crazy when you think about when people are like, oh, you got to go meet up with so-and-so, go meet with so-and-so, and he's all the way across the city. Or you didn't see Fulan. Like, how am I going to see Fulan?
I mean, I remember actually, a good thing you brought it up. There's a guy that came over to my house a while ago, all the way from Medina. And he's like, yeah, I came here and, and I need to advise you. Okay, Jazakallah khair. Yani, good. Yani, I welcome advice. First thing he said is, yeah, you're not in touch with the brothers. I'm like, brothers? Like, what are you talking about? I said to him, wait, let's clarify things first. If you mean brothers that study in Jamiat al-Imam Muhammad bin Saud, I studied at Malik Saud, in case you don't know, right? Two different universities.
Two different exits. Ba'id. Yeah.
So unless these brothers, they come to the durus, that's what I see, brothers. If they're there, Akid, I see them. Now tell me, who are they? I catch them at the durus, fine. At my university, maybe. But who are these brothers that I have to be in touch for? Such that you have to advise me to be in touch with the brothers. So again, good thing you pointed out. Riyadh is a big city.
Yeah. I always give people the comparison, like in America, if you're familiar with New York, then you have different boroughs. You have Manhattan, Bronx, Queens, Harlem. All these places are far away from each other. And a person generally, if you're living in Manhattan, and I don't live in New York, but I've been to New York and I've talked to brothers and they've established this understanding that if you're living in Manhattan, generally you don't go out that borough. That's everything you need is right there.
That's your city, basically.
That's your city, pretty much. So the same thing here. If you're living in Riyadh, you have Cordoba, Monacia, Tawheed, whatever, Granada. These places are ba'id, and you have everything you need in that exact area.
Yeah, I think that also explains why some students, even though they live in Riyadh, and then you find out or you ask about the mashayikh they took from or the durus that they study. Yes, there are some big names in Riyadh, but rarely are you going to find one student who can say to you, I studied with this sheikh and that sheikh, and can give you the whole list.
Yeah.
Because they live in completely different
different
areas. So for me, example, I would love to attend, for example, more often, or as much as possible, the durus of Sheikh Salih al-Usaymi. But he lives all the way in the east.
Yeah.
And I live all the way in the west.
Yeah.
and the road in between is Tariq Mecca,
Yeah,
the most
yeah,
busiest road in Riyadh.
yeah,
You're looking at 1 hour
yeah, yeah,
to
yeah,
get from
yeah.
side to side. So
Yeah, you have to have the time, and I think in Magister you don't really get that time like that. But you have to have the time, and you really have to have like a
you have to pick your fights, like they say.
yeah. You gotta
You have to
you gotta pick
choose.
your battles. You gotta choose
You
wisely. Yeah,
have to choose wisely. Where am I going to live? Which drus am I going to attend? Because again, the place you live makes a major difference, obviously.
and that's another thing that a lot of people don't get who are not from Riyadh. They don't understand like that's another challenge in itself for Tulab and living here in Riyadh. You have to go from like for example Sheikh Fawzan in Meles. That used to be a 45-minute drive for where we're at right now.
Oh, that one, because it's central Riyadh. That's 45 minutes for everyone.
Yeah, and on top of that, at the time it used to be after Maghrib.
Yeah.
So you're leaving out after Asr.
Proper traffic.
Traffic everywhere. Then you got Sheikh Abdul Salam Shuwair, which is by Masjid Raji.
Yeah.
Far. Sheikh Al-Hidan used to be up north. So if you're in Jamia to Imam, Rahimahullah, Sheikh Saleh Al-Hidan, Rahimahullah, used to be up north. So if you're in north, that'll be easy for you.
Yeah.
But if you're coming from Tawheed, from Sheikh Ali's,
Yeah, it's a different story.
it's a different thing. And this is how
But when it
all of
comes,
them,
for example, Sheikh Fawzan's death, for
Mm.
example, or people of his caliber, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve the Sheikh.
Allahumma
What used to keep me going, and I think there's a good advice for everyone, specifically those brothers that come to Riyadh or come to Muslim countries and now have access to scholars that they didn't have access to back in the UK or America. When Shaitan comes to you and says to you, oh man, too much traffic, it's too far. What used to keep me going a lot. So I used to say to myself, wait a minute, let me think. What if Sheikh Fawzan came to the UK? Right?
Yeah.
And he came to London.
Yeah.
And I'm in Birmingham.
Yeah.
Would I think twice driving down?
Exactly.
So now that's a 2-hour drive.
Yeah.
So then why, if it's a 45-minute drive, why would I stay behind?
Exactly.
So unfortunately, يعني بني آدم, they don't ما يقدرون النعمة, or they don't appreciate the blessings that they have. And obviously we know there are so many brothers here in Riyadh, a lot of them working. And initially when they came to Riyadh or to these Muslim countries, definitely one of the biggest reasons was to study with scholars and benefit from them.
Yeah.
But then you find they come here, they start working, then they take a tutoring job, and then private tuition. This before you know
it, get busy.
They get busy. But always think back. Put yourself in the situation you were in when you were back in the UK or America.
Sahih.
No.
Sahih. You see, okay, that's a good point, because so many times you see people come here, like you said, for working, and they want to do tajamma. They want to have talab al-ilm, but they also want to have working.
Yeah.
How many of them completely leave off talab al-ilm because they don't look at this? They don't. I mean, it goes back to sincerity as well. Like for talab al-ilm, for example, if you're coming here to Jamia Imam or Malik Saud, you have to understand that there's going to be hardships in the tariq.
Definitely.
And from that hardship in Riyadh specifically is getting places, especially if you don't have a car. Car is lazim.
No, you can't live
If you don't have a car, then automatically it becomes almost impossible. Like
until that metro finally arrives. We just meant to arrive 3 years ago.
Inshaa Allāh, come soon. Inshaa Allāh ta'ala. So actually you mentioned something that I want to touch on, which was you mentioned if Sheikh Fawzan came to the UK, you would drive from Birmingham, go down. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I apologize to have to butt into the podcast at this particular moment, but right here we lost about 9 to 10 minutes of our footage plus our audio because of some technical difficulties on our side. So please be patient with us as we're learning how to do this kind of like on the fly. As they say, you're building the plane while flying it. So we're trying our best to make sure everything runs smoothly for the next podcast. In this part where it was cut out, Ustad Muhammad Dawali, he spoke about his trip to the UK. He spoke about his time with Sheikh Sulaiman Ruhaili. Likewise, he talked about some more things and some benefits. We both talked about sometimes in living here in Riyadh and our experiences. But don't worry, we'll give it to you, Inshaa Allāh, next week on the next weekly podcast. Sorry, let's get back to the podcast.
Allah Ta'ala said that indeed there's an example for you in Ibrahim alayhi salam and those with him. When they said to their people that we are free from you and that which you worship besides Allah. And from this moment, there starts between us and you an enmity and hatred forever until you believe in Allah alone, till you believe in Tawheed.
No.
This is the example Allah has given us about Ibrahim alayhi salam in the Quran. طبعا the bab of wala and bara is big in the Quran. So many ayat, so many hadith to share. I specifically chose this ayah to specifically refute those that claim Abrahamic religions.
Yeah.
ايش Abrahamic religions؟
Yeah.
هذا إبراهيم عليه السلام.
Yeah, صح.
That's what he said. Allah says in the Quran ما كان إبراهيم يهوديا ولا نصرانيا ولكن كان حنيفا مسلما. يعني how many religions does Ibrahim have? When you say Abrahamic religions, that's plural, صح? In English. صح ولا لا? You're English teacher.
صحيح.
طيب, how many religions does Ibrahim have? They only had one religion, which is the religion of Tawheed, of Islam.
Exactly.
So how can you say Abrahamic religions? So, and in that clip you shared with me earlier.
We'll get into that, but let's look at.
Let
me explain the question first.
Yeah.
So the brother says, "Assalamu alaikum, bro. Just a quick question. If you get a chance, how should Muslims react to the Queen's death? There are many we know who are really saddened by it. Some Muslims have said, may her soul rest in peace. Some have said, the Khatib, and this is quote unquote, the Khatib didn't mention anything at the khutbah today about the Queen's death. She's done so much for us." And you can elaborate on that because I don't know what they're even talking about here. "Allowing us to make masajids and practice our religion, our deen. We should have shown some empathy, at least from the imams of the community."
Wow.
So should we go through? Let's go through it word for word. Okay. Assalamu alaikum, bro. Just a quick question. If you get a chance, how should Muslims react to the Queen's death? So first and foremost, like you just was talking about, wala wa bara. And on top, let's add to that, it's not permissible to tarham al kafir.
Now, first and foremost, why do we need to react anyway?
Yeah.
Aslan, شو دخلنا?
Yeah.
What does a Muslim got to do with it anyway?
I think this is the problem with living in the West. You know, living in the West, you feel like you have to react to these affairs.
No, we don't.
You have to have a stance. I'm guessing. I'm playing maybe their opinion of what they're trying to say. Maybe they feel like they need to react or they need to be able to say something.
Look, the only situation I can think of where a Muslim actually has to react is maybe for da'wah purposes if non-Muslims particularly ask, just to see like, or to clarify some of the extreme things that people do. And for example, talking about dead people and insulting dead people, that's not from our religion.
Yeah,
صح؟
obviously.
إنهم قد أفضوا إلى ما قدموا خلاص.
No.
That's between them and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right?
No.
And likewise, it's not wise or permissible to insult someone who's already dead because you're not harming that individual, you're harming that person's loved ones.
Exactly.
You're putting them off from the religion.
Exactly.
So if we as Muslims now go on to, curse her publicly and talk about her after she's dead, and if you were going to do that, why didn't you do that when she was alive?
Exactly.
Of course, she's done so many evil things, right? You could have pointed it out when she was alive.
Exactly.
Now she's dead.
Yeah.
Khalas. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will deal with her.
Exactly.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now you've got her son in charge. Ain't no different.
So.
You can curse her as much as you like. The legacy is going to continue.
Yeah.
The reign is going to continue.
Yeah.
Son is taking over.
Yeah.
He's not going to change stuff, right? So there's no point, really. And by insulting her or doing these sort of things, non-Muslims who genuinely have love for her will feel put off. So that's definitely one side whereby a Muslim might react in order to clarify and clear up that confusion.
Yeah.
That some people.
But as for the awam, then there's really no bone in the fight, as they say.
I can't absolutely not.
I mean, to say that we're saddened by it.
That's a different level now. If we were talking about how do Muslims react, don't react. Okay.
Yeah.
Actually feeling saddened by it, the question would be, what do you feel sad about? What is it that saddens you?
Yeah.
And the claim that she's done so much for us. Who is us?
Yeah.
I don't know. I genuinely want to know this person that's asking that question, what background he or she is from.
Yeah.
I mean, if you are a Qadiani Ahmadi, right? Or you're one of those grave worshipping Sufis, I can see why you're sad. She used to fund you a lot.
Yeah.
There's no.
Yeah.
The British government funds these misguided sects and gives them a lot of money in order to spread they misguidance.
Yeah.
They've actually employed people with these kind of aqidas
Yeah.
to split people back in Pakistan for colonial reasons.
Mm.
And there are quotes,
Mm.
there are documents. I wish we had that fact check you're
Yeah,
talking
yeah,
about.
yeah. Next time, inshallah.
Yeah, next time, inshallah. So that's well known
Yeah.
that the colonial powers made use and I quoted actually some of their. I actually quoted some of their speech in my Usul al-Thalatha class last week. If I had time to pull out my laptop, I would literally, I'm going to send you the quote.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll send you the quote.
Abshir.
Give me a moment.
Abshir.
So, and we're going to share that quote, inshallah, with the audience as well.
Mumtaz.
So the point I'm trying to make is that, what do you mean she's done so much for us? I mean, if that's your background, I know where you're coming from. But if you're coming from if you're not, and your background, you're someone upon Tawheed and upon the Sunnah, tell me what she's done for you.
Yeah.
Tell me what she has done for you.
Yeah.
Okay?
Very strange.
It's crazy.
It's strange.
And,
go ahead.
Sorry. For the sake of argument,
Mm.
let's assume that she's done a lot for Islam.
Mm.
And that she wasn't the person who put the Zionists in Israel and blah, blah, blah. And, let's go back in
That's
history.
what I'm saying. I mean, it maybe is also just a lack of general history of what the Queen and what this type of system stands for.
Whatever the British government has done over the past 70 years,
Yeah,
she's got a hand in it.
Of course.
Invasions, you name it. Whatever the British government has done, whatever blood's on the British government's hands, she's got a part in it. But nevertheless, let's assume she's done a lot for Islam. Let's assume.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Still, there's not a justification for you to ask Allah to have mercy on her or to ask Allah for istighfar for her. Why? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said to his Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, ما كان للنبي والذين آمنوا أن يستغفروا للمشركين ولو كانوا أولي قربى من بعد ما تبين لهم أنهم أصحاب الجحيم. That it is not for the Prophet or the believers to seek forgiveness for the polytheists. So even if this was a close family member, your mother, your father, even your own children, but they died upon kufr or shirk, you're not allowed to ask Allah for forgiveness for them.
No.
Okay? So that's one thing. There's no justification for that. And if we look at the ayah, this ayah was revealed about who? Regarding who? Abu Talib.
Yeah.
Abu Talib, what did Abu Talib do for Islam?
Exactly.
Abu Talib has done so much for Islam, has done so much for the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Defending the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, defending the companion.
If it wasn't for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, of course, first and foremost, yes. After Allah, if it wasn't for Abu Talib, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's da'wah would not have survived.
No.
Fact. That's why after he passed away, the Muslims went through 3 years really difficult. Really difficult, being boycotted and everything.
100%.
No protection anymore.
Yeah, and then especially after Khadija radiallahu anha also passed.
Even yes,
it was khalas.
Very difficult.
Okay, how are they eating? How are they getting around Mecca? It was difficult.
Very difficult. This is Abu Talib. Abu Talib, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Oh Muhammad, you can't seek forgiveness for him."
Subhanallah.
And he's done so much for Islam.
Subhanallah.
So even if we accept, we assume, for the sake of argument, that Queen Elizabeth has done a lot for Islam, we're not allowed to ask for forgiveness for her, or for Allah to have mercy on her, or to say, may she rest in peace, or all these sort of statements.
No.
I'm not going to say to you, yes, like I said, attack her and this and that, that could have been done at its time, yes, at this sensitive time for a lot of the British population who are not Muslim, that might not be the wisest thing to do.
Yeah.
Right? But regarding seeking forgiveness or these sort of things, or even that guy who done Umrah for her,
La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. For those people who don't know what we're talking about, there was a Yemeni guy who came, and it was a viral video, or a viral picture rather, on social media, where this guy was apparently, supposedly by what he was saying, there in Mecca making Umrah on the behalf of the Queen Elizabeth.
Yep.
Yemeni. They
apprehended him. The Saudi.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. The Saudi government apprehended him. Yeah.
Exactly. Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Ajib, akhi, when I see that, wallah,
it's crazy. It's crazy. Wallah, it's crazy. So this is the reality. Okay. Now look at Najashi.
No.
Prophet ﷺ prayed janazah over him
Exactly.
when he died. Nah. Okay. Felt bad because his brother passed away.
No.
Sah? Now the question is, Akhi, these sort of people that are speaking out now saying we felt sad and Imam should have shown some empathy, done a khutbah on it, they should have addressed it. Can I ask you a question? Where were they when King Abdullah rahimahullah passed away? Who talked about that? Who sought Allah's forgiveness for him and said rahimahullah and felt bad? How many Muslims felt saddened by the passing of Malik Abdullah rahimahullah? How much has he done for Islam? Actually, he's not perfect. Nobody's perfect.
Yeah.
But how much has he done for Islam?
And actually, you see the opposite. Every time there's something which might seem to be a bad or seem to be not good in the Mamlaka, they're quick to speak about them things.
Of course.
Of course. For example, these people making videos about things that's happening in Saudi Arabia whilst they're in the West.
No, only the bad things. They only show the bad things. For example, right now, this Yemeni guy who done Umrah, they'll send that around.
Yeah.
But then the following tweet that he's got apprehended,
they don't send it around.
They don't send that around. No.
Allah Musta'an.
No.
So they went on. He went on in this question. He was asking, and he put a hadith out there, which I'm. Let me go ahead and share this. Put this back on the screen. There's a hadith that states. Qais ibn Sa'd reported a funeral passed by the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he stood for it. He stood for that funeral passing by. It was said to him, "It's a Jew." The Prophet ﷺ said, "Was he not a soul, or was it not a soul?" In another narration, the Prophet ﷺ said, "Verily, you stand to glorify Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is the receiver of the souls." And just looking in this hadith is in Bukhari Muslim. So the brother said, some are also using this hadith to say that it is upon us to honor the queen, to treat her death with respect. Respect, I understand. But I thought this hadith was abridged. Please clarify in your podcast if you can. Jazakallah khair. So
abridged means abrogated. Yani.
Abrogated, yes. So
can you read for us the actual Arabic of the... I never ever speak about a hadith.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. And this, unfortunately, a lot of people, they fall into this trap. They get a hadith written in English, and then even if it says it's from Bukhari or Muslim, and then they go on and base their hukum on that, or they start believing that or whatever.
Yeah.
Go back to the Arabic, check what the Arabic itself says, and then alhamdulillah, we have shuruhat of the hadith. This is unfortunately something that most Muslims don't have access to because of their lack of Arabic language. But if you have basic Arabic language, whenever someone sends you an ayah from the Quran, try and quote it for something that is controversial or sounds off.
So
all you need to do, get the ayah, open the books of tafsir, khalas.
Yeah. So
take the hadith, open books of shuruhat, khalas.
Yeah, so I got the hadith here in Arabic. It says, Inna Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam marrat bihi janazatun faqama faqila innahu yahudiyyun faqala alaysat nafsan. وفي رواية كنا مع رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم فمرت علينا جنازة. Okay, yeah, that's just another wording in Bukhari and Muslim. But anyway, I went back and looked at the explanation of this hadith, and you see that in the explanation, there's two things. One, there is a lot of scholars, including the Shafi'iyya and others, who consider this hadith to nusikha al-hadith. Yani it's something which has been abrogated. But let's say even if it wasn't the case where it was abrogated, which some of the shuruhat comes, you can look at Ibn Hajar in his Fath al-Bari, he explains this with a pretty lengthy explanation. And if it wasn't, he wasn't standing because of that kafir.
No.
He was standing ta'adhiman lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala. He's the one, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is taking the souls back.
All the souls go. That's what the hadith says.
Exactly. The next narration clarifies that.
Yeah.
So for somebody to say, oh, shouldn't we stand and to respect her? It wasn't the Prophet ﷺ, when that happened with the Yahudi, he wasn't standing to like out of some type of honor or la. He was standing ta'adhiman lillahi subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Plus, he didn't even ask. If that was the case, right? If he was standing for the dead person, then maybe Sallallahu would have asked first, who is this?
No, exactly.
Who is
and
this?
That didn't happen.
This is Fulan bin Fulan. Okay, then he stands up.
No.
Who is this? This such and such. Then he sits down. La.
The
moment you saw the janazah, he stood up.
Exactly.
And he explains to Rasul himself at the end of the hadith
Exactly.
why he stood up.
Exactly. So for people to come and use this hadith and say, "Oh, look, this is why we should stand for Queen Elizabeth and respect her and honor," because the Prophet said, "Sallallahu respected and honored this."
So in other words,
they're changing the meaning of the hadith.
Exactly.
They're changing the meaning.
Yeah, subhanallah.
That wasn't the essence of the hadith.
Because in other words, this hadith is telling us, regardless if that person in the coffin is a queen or some guy that cleans the streets, stand up.
Exactly.
Muslim, non-Muslim, queen, slave, coffin comes by, someone dead, stand up. In glorification of Allah.
Exactly. It's a remembrance of death. It's for us to take heed.
No.
Not because of the person being a queen or a king, etc., like you mentioned.
No.
Exactly. So hopefully that the brother can see that, and that helps clarify that.
No.
I
want to share one tweet
that
I read. Subhanallah. Deep. It's deep. The person said in the tweet, he said, Subhanallah. He said, look how, when a young Muslim child dies, hundreds of thousands of people pray over the janazah in Mecca. Hundreds and thousands.
No.
And when a queen of the status of Queen Elizabeth here on earth dies, not one Muslim is allowed to say, seek forgiveness for her.
Allahu Akbar.
Or seek rahmah for her. Not one Muslim.
Allahu Akbar.
Let alone praying janazah over her.
Allahu Akbar.
Showing you the honor of the Muslim soul.
No.
Young, old, rich, poor, doesn't matter.
So.
For indeed, the Muslim soul or the Muslim's honor is greater than the Kaaba.
So.
Like the Athar mentions or the Hadith.
Allahu Akbar.
Subhanallah.
So I'm guessing you've seen that little video clip as well as of
those kids.
Yeah, the kids in the different communities and the community leaders telling them to sing the national anthem
in the mosque.
In the mosque, and you got the kids giving ta'liqat of, oh, you know, she was such a nice person, and even when the kids said she deserves to go to paradise, or she could.
Showing you how they're indoctrinating these children. And I'm not even saying how the UK government is indoctrinating them. La.
Yeah.
UK government has put institutions in place in order to indoctrinate the Muslim children through other people,
100%,
through other Muslims or those that claim to be Muslim.
100%. Should we listen to it? Should we look at it?
Huh? It's a difficult look. It's a difficult watch. Wallahi. Allah musta'an.
Should we leave it? It's up to you.
I'm sure it's a viral video. Everyone's seen it.
Honestly, the part that really had me kind of like taken back, the kids, they're following what they're being taught. They need to be taught correctly. But then when you see the adults enforcing it, and then the one guy saying that this is what he said, something along the lines.
He said, we don't. These kids, they don't look at her in terms of her religion.
Yeah,
they don't care what religion she's in. Still,
and even before that, he said she was the best of examples, or she was. It was like
the best of examples.
Yeah, no. Like that. He said, "What better example
or better role model than Her Majesty?"
Yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, "Akhi, have you not heard of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? Have you not heard of the companions? Have you not heard of the Salaf?"
What a better role model or example, billahi alayk. In what? In what?
That's another thing that
in shirk, in kufr, huh? In what? Tell me in what?
That's another thing I was hoping you can help clarify, because I don't, akhi, coming from America, I don't know anything about this lady. This makes her the best role model. The best role model?
Akhi, like I said to you, and you were there. You were there and went to Sheikh Abdullah Qusayr.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And he mentioned a lot of different things.
Yeah.
I think one brother just asked him, was one simple question. He said, Sheikh, can we or should we go to the city center and give da'wah? Something along those lines. The Sheikh went and he asked so many questions.
Yeah, he asked
Atadrun.
Yeah.
Atadrun. Atadrun. One of the things he mentioned, do you know that he mentioned the takfiris? And a lot of those people, that they're being funded by Queen Elizabeth, or if you like, the government. Did you know that? Did you know this? These are things that people should know. So now when this is what she used to do, or what the government used to do, they used to fund these people. They have to show their allegiance.
Yeah.
They have to show to their king now that, you know what? We appreciate what your mother has done for us. We have actually gone to the length, of actually doing these kind of ceremonies in a mosque from the mosques of Allah, These are the children that we've indoctrinated. They're singing your praise. Yes. And God save the king. Yeah. Make sure you continue funding us. We've proved our colors. That's what it comes down to at the end of the day.
Okay, where are these people? Like, there's so many people. Every time something happens in Saudi, something changes in Saudi, whatever the case may be, here they come with their negativity. Here they come speaking down on Saudi. Here they come speaking down on the rollers. You have kids being indoctrinated to praise kuffar. You have masajid and leaders saying, we don't have, what better example do we have than Queen Elizabeth? I don't see them same people coming and condemning these individuals.
Wallah, this reminds me of the hadith where Prophet ﷺ said that the servant will say a statement, لا يلقي لها بالا. Thinks it's nothing.
No.
But that will throw him 70 years into hellfire.
Sahih.
والله إنها لقول والله قول عظيم.
Allah musta'an.
Wallahi qawl azim, to say something like that for someone who herself, do you know that she's the in charge of the Church of England? Do you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the Church of England, which is like the main church in the UK, she's like she was basically the person in charge of it, and now the king is. Such an individual who's in charge of that and spreading batil like that. La ilaha illallah.
But she's the best. She's the best example. Remember.
Allah. all I can say, Akhil Kareem, if anything,
it's not even funny, but it's like it's so unbelievable. I don't mean to laugh, but it's so unbelievable. Like, hey, wallah.
شر البرية. There's a statement in Arabic. شر البلية ما يضحك or something like that.
Yeah.
The worst of calamities are those calamities that even make you laugh. That's what a calamity it is. But at the end of the day, Akhil Kareem, if anything, they should show us the need the Muslim Ummah, specifically in the UK, has for Aqidah lessons, learning about Tawheed, Al-Wala wal-Bara, and the likes.
No.
These complete basics. Wallah, people, they need to be taught this. So it really, it pains the heart when you find people busying themselves with other things that are considered trivial compared to these kind of issues.
Yeah, and you get those people who say we can learn Tawheed in 5 minutes. Those people gonna say I teach Aqidah, and it's
crazy.
Why you guys bother us with Tawheed and Aqidah all the time? We need to be dealing with these other affairs. Tawheed is the asl.
Social activists.
It's the asl.
It's crazy.
We wouldn't have these same problems as you mentioned. But on that note, alhamdulillah, it's good to see, especially after Corona, alhamdulillah, so many people teaching right now. Like before, I remember before Corona, it was like there wasn't as many people, especially amongst our friends, who are tulab teaching online like they are now.
Yeah.
Alhamdulillah, like so many lessons. Alhamdulillah, you're teaching.
I mean, online isn't it? I mean, before, I suppose we had this thinking that, teaching has to be in person.
Yeah.
And that's how things were, obviously.
And then
everything
Corona
was
came.
in person. But then Corona came
and it showed us
the norm became online.
Exactly.
So,
alhamdulillah.
We can continue to seek knowledge and teach at the same time.
100%.
Alhamdulillah. So also, on that note, one of my students texted me talking about Sheikh Sulaiman al-Rahili's trip to the UK, saying that there's been a tangible change in the community in the UK when it comes to calling Tawheed.
Allahu Akbar.
Meaning many people now are addressing Tawheed, doing lessons on Tawheed, doing khutbah on Tawheed, just from that one visit.
Jameen.
This is sort of effect, akhi, that we want to have in our community when we go back. Not that we go back and all of a sudden it turns to a whole drama and this one attacks that one and infighting. We want to go to our communities, come back, people being closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Yeah, definitely. And honestly, that's the way that we've seen here in Saudi Arabia with a lot of the khutbah. A lot of them are directed with Tawheed.
Yeah.
Sheikh Ali.
Yeah,
I would say almost every week he's connecting the khutbah to Tawheed.
No, I agree.
So somebody to say like, oh, the khatib didn't speak about the death of... I mean, the only reason you even speak about it is to make sure you're refuting the issues that you're seeing from the Muslims. But besides that, the khutbah is supposed to be maw'idah, built upon Tawheed, kitab wa sunnah, calling people back to the religion.
Yeah, definitely.
Allahu musta'an. So yeah, alhamdulillah. You got anything to add on to that before you move on?
No. That's it. I mean, other than the fact that, please, educate yourself. Learn your aqidah. This issue right now, the whole Queen Elizabeth saga, it's nothing to do with her or her dying.
No.
or the likes. لا. Something more to do with a khalal and a shortcoming when it comes to people's aqidas. Because this is not the first time, you know that, right? Sometimes you have celebrities dying, you got people saying rahimahullah on Twitter.
Yeah. I mean, I've seen that from a few people, but I've never seen it to the scale that I've seen it as of late. Like that
No,
Queen Elizabeth thing was
again
like,
because her status might be higher. So
Yeah.
the more famous or the more higher status, the more
Yeah.
people will do it. But at the end of the day, you know, there are people that think that Jannah and Nar belongs to them,
yeah,
right? To the extent that those people they love, they can ask for Jannah and they want Jannah for them and be like, rest in peace and she deserves Jannah.
yeah.
La ilaha illallah. Jannah ain't yours.
SubhanAllah.
Yani, Jannah is not based on how you feel about this person.
Mm.
Jannah is based on if this person has fulfilled Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's rights or not.
So,
At the head of them being Tawheed.
mm.
Like Allah said in Surah Ma'idah, على لسان عيسى عليه السلام إنه من يشرك بالله فقد حرم الله عليه الجنة ومأواه النار. Isa عليه السلام, who they call God, this is what he said, that whoever associates partners with Allah, then Allah has made it haram for him to go to Jannah.
Sahih.
This is hukm Allah.
Understand.
Jannah is not yours. Subhanallah.
Akhi, I had a few other things we wanted to discuss today, but I think time is going to be a bit tight. So let's end it right there, Inshaa Allāh ta'ala. Pick up next week, bidnillah ta'ala.
That was a good start, inshallah.
Yeah, alhamdulillah, 50 minutes. Jade.
Yeah.
Barakallah feek.
It's not 50.